Tech News Weekly is sponsored by Audible.com, the internet's leading provider of audiobooks, with more than 100,000 downloadable titles across all types of literature. Stitcher Radio. Listen on the go via the Stitcher mobile app. For more information, go to Stitcher.com/GFQ. And by Ting, mobile that makes sense. Go to gfq.ting.com and get a $25 credit when signing up.
Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. I'm your host, Andrew Zarin. I'm joined by Suncast, as I am each and every week. How you doing, Suncast?
Hey, Andrew, what's up?
Nothing much. You know, we're starting to show a little late. We're trying to trouble support this weird problem that we have with your webcam. And
I don't know if it's just my webcam or if it's on your end or what it is. I just can never seem to get the right balance of color on the feed. Like, it looks completely different to me. Like, I'm looking on one monitor here, and it looks overly bright, but then it looks on the other monitor, and it looks kind of too dark, but also like washed out or grayish.
And this is a big issue, I think, when it comes to doing this kind of stuff on video. There's so many little things that come into play when it comes to calibrating your video to look as natural as possible. I think a lot of it has to do with what you see on your end, what I see on my end, and what your video card is doing, my video card, and then the capture card that we're also going through. So there's so many variables in something like this. But I'm always fascinated on, finding a little fix for this. Or is it the webcam? It's just so many little things.
It could be the webcam, because I've had another webcam that seemed like this, but then my other one that I was using looked just fine. That's what I don't understand, is that I could go from one webcam and it looks fine, go to another webcam or a couple different webcams, and it looks completely different.
The amazing part of all this is that we're doing this via Skype, and I could actually see your system resources and how much CPU usage you're going through, and you're at 8% right now.
Yeah, because this is the it's got the hardware encoder in it.
I mean, that's amazing. That really is amazing that the camera's doing all the work and it's using barely any CPU resources. I'm sure that my return video is attributing to that 8%.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. But a lot of stuff to get to in technology. A lot of stuff to talk about. We're going to be doing our picks of the week at the end of the show. And my pick is a device this week. So a little teaser there for you guys. That's what they call a teaser in the radio business. Right, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure, because I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. I want to talk about this with you for a little bit. Senate embraces the internet tax. Now, by a vote of 75 to 24, senators adopted an amendment to a Democratic budget resolution that, by allowing states to collect taxes on remote sales, it intends to eventually usher in the first national internet sales tax. In New York, we pay sales tax for stuff that we buy online. I mean, if you're buying on Amazon, you're buying at any big retailer, you're going to pay taxes on that.
We just went through this too when I built this computer, because I was going to buy the parts, ship them to you, but then it was going to cost me like an extra, $300
on the taxes,
just because of the taxes.
How is it in where you are in Michigan? Do you pay taxes online? How does it work for you?
Only if the store has an actual physical location in Michigan. So like Best Buy, I would have to, because they obviously have Best Buy stores here. But Amazon, I don't have to pay any sales tax, which is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, Amazon is one of the few places that in New York they collect sales tax on this. But what would they do with a national retail, I guess, online sales tax, and how would they do this? Would it be depending on every state? Would it be? I mean, let's say I'm ordering on Amazon.
If it's national, it's going to be every state.
But at what tax rate? That's my question on this.
Yeah, that's something that I don't know if they actually say exactly what it would be. I mean, it's got language in it saying that you can collect taxes on remote sales, but it's really hard because they don't really go into it, or to actually understand it, you kind of have to be like a lawyer, You have to have that legalese background in order to actually understand exactly what this bill is, because it's an amendment to the budget that the Democratic senators want to pass, or did pass. So it's attached to this other huge bill, and it's just very confusing if you're somebody like me or you that really doesn't understand this stuff as well as somebody like a lawyer would.
Well, here's a perfect question from our chat room, and I encourage each and every one of you to participate with us because you guys are a great resource. In the chat room, there's a question: at what tax rate and who gets it? Is it the state that's shipping it, or will it be the state that's being shipped to? This is going to,
as far as I understand, it would all be federal.
It would all be just one.
It would
big
be a federal tax.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm fine with that. I'm really okay with that if the tax rate is under what I have here in New York City, which is 8.675. You know,
of course you would.
I would be really happy with that because I'm almost paying 9% sales tax on all this stuff. So if it's like a 4% sales tax, I'm really happy. But if you're the state and your sales tax is 8%, you're losing that sale.
What this all comes down to is that there's the National Retail Federation, which is made up of companies like Walmart, Target, AutoZone, Best Buy, Home Depot, Office Max, Macy's, etc. They all say that there's an unfair advantage for these online sites that actually have no sales tax collection. So they kind of say that, well, it's unfair. Well, they don't have to collect any tax, but we do. But I don't understand what the unfair advantage is.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like they have to pay the sales tax. It's the people buying the goods that have to pay the sales tax.
Well,
so where's the advantage?
I'll tell you where the unfair advantage is. They're seeing it as a lost sale. If, let's say, you go online and your state does not have that tax rate or doesn't have, you know, sales tax on some of the stuff, you're not going to go online and purchase it online. You're going to go to a local retail store. And you know what? Maybe that's not bad. Maybe that's great for a local business. I mean, there's both sides to this argument. I'm just curious on how are they going to enforce this in every state and at what rate?
You know what they'd have to do? It'd have to be an IRS thing.
I guess. Yeah. Well, I mean, if they're not charging us
how
tax,
else would
it's
they
not.
do it?
Listen, if they're not charging us tax,
this is almost the same argument as how they're going to enforce Obamacare. You know, it's like it's not something that they've ever done before. But it is essentially a tax, so taxes fall under the IRS.
Well, this is the question that a senior senator from Illinois said. Why should out-of-state companies that sell their products online have an unfair advantage over Main Street brick-and-mortar businesses? So in a way, this is kind of to say, well, listen, don't buy it online. Go to the store down the block. Californians buying books from Amazon or cameras from Manhattan's B&H, for example, won't pay sales tax at checkout at times.
But
they would normally when they're paying
nonsense
the mall.
Because we've all seen those furniture store commercials where they tell you, we'll even pay your sales tax if you buy something from us.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the brick and mortar, but
it's just completely dumb. It's not like I really don't see it as being unfair. I'll tell you what's unfair are taxes. Taxes are unfair. In all honesty, there's a lot of things that I would reconsider buying if I had to pay sales tax for it.
Well, yeah,
plain and simple, I think there's going to be a lot of people that if there was a national sales tax on online sites, they're going to definitely think twice before actually buying something. Because if you're spending, $300 and you have, somewhere around 10% sales tax, well, that's another $30. So instead of it being $300, it's now $330.
Well, look,
which is a significant amount of money for people like myself that don't necessarily have a high-paying job.
Your computer that we built out a couple of months ago, you were going to get it shipped, like you said, and you're right. It was going to cost you almost $300 more to buy it and send it to me, even though you were purchasing it. You were the bill to address.
Yeah.
Because you were shipping it to me, they wanted to charge you the sales tax.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that changed my mind right there.
Yeah.
I was not. I mean, when you have a budget to work, I had a budget to work with. I had close
almost $3,000
to $2,000 to work with.
Yeah.
And so at that point, adding that extra $300 for sales tax on it went above my budget, and I could not do that any longer.
Yeah.
And that's my whole reason against these online sales tax is that at that point, you are basically breaking budgets. It's that line where it's like, well, there's the sense of this is disposable, but I have this amount of money I can work with for a budget, and once you pass
I deserve a raise.
Budget due to account of how much sales tax you have to pay, then people start thinking twice about whether or not they're really going to make this purchase.
Yeah, no,
so it's almost the idea or the notion of, do you want the sale or do you want to lose the sale because there's a 10% sales tax?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Would you rather make the $250, or would you charge a 10% sales tax and make it $300? Make them pay another, $50.
I'm curious on how this is going to play out, because I'm sure that states don't want to lose out on the sale, and I'm sure a lot of states don't want to have this their people being taxed for something that they're not getting out of. I mean, it's not really fair to the state if you're getting charged New York state tax and you're buying it in Illinois. Interesting stuff, though. I want to talk about this controversy already behind Google Glasses and a lawmaker wanting to ban them while on the road.
Yeah, this is kind of weird.
Gary Howell out of West Virginia has proposed a bill last week that would impose the same restrictions that we have for smartphones while driving, cell phones while driving, anything pretty much like that. The legislation refers specifically to a wearable computer with head mount display. Now, you know why I think this is weird? Imagine, and this is how I see it, this device has not even come out yet. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And there's already controversy surrounding it, and people want to have legislation passed to ban it when doing certain things. Like in Seattle, a bar banned Google Glasses. That you can't walk in there and have Google Glasses on, because you could technically record anybody you want and nobody would know. But to me,
you can do that with a freaking cell phone.
You could do that with a cell phone. But here's my idea behind this. If I'm driving, I would rather look straight and a little up than to look down and to the right to see the navigation. Because a lot of times the navigation displays on these, mounted displays are lower than your line of sight. I could see a great navigation system being built into these things, and you're just looking straight ahead. And
but then you're busy reading your email and you're not paying attention to the road.
Is that what they're thinking?
That's exactly what they're thinking. They're saying that, teens are so distracted now with text messages that there's so many accidents because there's distracted drivers reading text messages. Somebody could get killed. So we can't have Google Glasses while you're driving.
I don't know.
Yet you can have GPS in cars.
Well, that's my point.
GPS. What's the difference?
Well, that's my point. I mean, everything is a distraction in the car. I mean, listen, I don't think you should be texting and driving, obviously. You shouldn't be on the phone and looking at your emails while you're driving. But if I don't know if this is just overly, trying to pass rules and regulations on certain things. How about sunglasses? And how are they going to enforce that? Cops are going to look at you and be like, "Oh, do your sunglasses have a computer built into them?"
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird in a way, but
what's just so weird about this is the fact that it's not even really a product at this point. It's something that somebody's brainchild, and they aren't even selling this yet. So, I mean, they're selling it, but it's not actually, people aren't using it. They're not really in stores. You can't go and buy this like a cell phone.
No, it's only a select group of people that are playing around with it. Combs had a chance to put them on at PAX. He put the Google Glasses on, and he said the strange thing is you got to look up to the left to see what it's projecting. And I guess it would be a little annoying to do this, but it's better than looking down, in my opinion. At least you're still straight ahead. I don't know. I think with the cars, my wife's Infinity has all these things built into her navigation. I'm thinking this is far worse than the cell phone. Far worse. It all works, so I don't know. I wanted to just bring this story up because we were talking about, Senate embracing the internet sales tax.
They just want to regulate everything.
And that's why I had it in the story.
You know?
I know you're very excited about this.
It's kind of crazy.
I know you're very excited about this story now. The iPhone 5 is coming to T-Mobile. Mm-hmm. And we spoke about this off the air, you and I really want to get your opinion on this because you were a T-Mobile customer for many years. You recently jumped ship to Verizon. I don't know how your service was with T-Mobile, but over here there's virtually no service. And it's coming, I believe, April 12th. You're going to be able to either get it for $100 up front, and the rest will be paid in $20 monthly installments, or you could pay almost $600 straight out of pocket. The phone is yours, no contract, nothing.
This is the interesting thing is that T-Mobile actually clarified this, I think, today or yesterday, in the sense that they can sell you the phone outright because they have these new plans where there's no subsidies anymore, there's no contracts. You either buy the device outright for the full retail price, or you pay, like a monthly payment. So what T-Mobile is saying is that current customers get a discount on the iPhone for $580. Normally, the retail price is somewhere around $650.
Yeah.
So if you're not a T-Mobile customer and you want an iPhone on T-Mobile, you're going to have to pay the full $650 or the monthly installments.
You know what? I think I'm sorry. I think it's six. I thought it's $580. Oh.
That's $580 if you're a current T-Mobile customer.
Okay, so there's no advantage.
That's a discount for current customers. And see, that wasn't clarified in all of the leaks that we had.
Yeah, why?
Why? Why not? It's T-Mobile sticking to their current customers.
So they're branding themselves as the uncarrier. Do you think this is an advantage for them?
Brand.
Like, do you feel, because you were a customer, do you feel the no contract thing is an advantage? Do you think people care about it? Because I know Michael Manna is a big fan of these, like, no contract, nothing, bring your own phone, leave whenever you want plans. But I personally don't really care that I'm on a 2-year contract. It doesn't affect me in any way.
It's so weird because I've read so many articles comparing, the cost of iPhone ownership on Verizon with a 2-year contract versus T-Mobile or prepaid, where you don't have to have all these contracts. And it's weird because they say that you can save somewhere upwards of $600 if you buy the device outright over the course of 2 years. And where the real cost savings comes from is from the fact that T-Mobile, after you paid off your device, you no longer have to pay $20 a month to pay for that device. That's what they're saying, is that it's cheaper just to buy it outright. But it's one of those things that, because it's over the course of 2 years, you really aren't going to notice that.
Yeah. Would you have stayed with them if the iPhone was on T-Mobile?
No.
You wouldn't have. Why?
Partly due to their service.
Okay.
Just not being... one, they didn't have LTE. I mean, when I switched, they didn't have any LTE at the time. Now they have a few markets with LTE, and that was one of the things that I really wanted with a new phone, is I wanted access to LTE. And so T-Mobile was definitely not the carrier for that, and they still really aren't the carrier for LTE. And that, to me, is a big selling point, is having a phone that's capable of the same speeds or near the same speeds as what I have here with my home broadband connection.
Yeah. And now they're also unlimited, right? Let's touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of people... this is funny because a lot of people find this weird in the sense that they call this unlimited, but it's not necessarily unlimited if you take the word at its definition of being unlimited. They start you off with, unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited web with 500 megabytes of high-speed data. After that 500 megabytes of high-speed data is used,
500 megs.
You get throttled. Yeah, 500 megabytes.
Which is nothing.
You get throttled back down to, like 3G speeds or whatever it is. Now, you can actually purchase, a higher tier of usage. So, in a way, it's good in the sense where, versus like Verizon and AT&T, if you can't necessarily go over your allotment of data. But on T-Mobile and Sprint, you can go over that. they'll just throttle you back down to like 3G speed.
How do they get by using the term unlimited when it's not really unlimited?
I think that's the issue that a lot of people have with these sort of plans where they call it unlimited, because unlimited but limited.
I guess you know what their go around is. They're like, well, it's unlimited, meaning you could access anything you want to access. It's not limited access. That's what we mean by it. We don't mean for
but
the
they
bandwidth.
limit how fast it is.
Yeah.
So it's unlimited with certain limits.
Yeah,
I mean, you do get unlimited talk. You do get unlimited texting.
usage. Yeah, unlimited usage, limited speeds. It's such BS, huh? It's such BS. I mean, it really is.
And you know, it's still cheaper to have a phone on T-Mobile than it is with Verizon or AT&T. Plain and simple, they just have cheaper costs. But then you still have to, you know, figure out what's actually good for your area and for your needs. Myself, I'd rather have Verizon because they have one of the largest LTE networks, and I very hardly ever go somewhere where I don't have LTE. And I've been, you know, on a road trip from here all the way to Iowa, which is like 500 miles, and I barely lost LTE service. Maybe once for 5 minutes did I lose LTE service.
How much?
Even in the middle of Iowa, I had LTE.
How much bandwidth are you going through a month on your phone?
I'm probably around 2 gigabytes.
2 gigs a month.
Yeah.
Okay. I am at around like 300 megs.
I actually have a program called Dataman on there, which will tell me how much I'm using on my Wi-Fi and how much I'm using just on the cellular network. And because I'm home most of the time, most of my data usage is here on a Wi-Fi network versus cellular. If I'm talking just for my cellular usage, probably 500 megabytes at most.
Okay.
On my cellular usage, but here at home I use probably over a gig.
Yeah. Okay.
Month.
I mean that's pretty normal. You're a normal boy.
Yeah.
You're a real boy.
And I've got up to 4 gigabytes. So
listen, I'm not going to listen to what all those people are saying and how you're not real and you're a figment of my imagination. You're real. I forgot the story. I wanted to talk about when we were talking about all the taxing because I thought this was so silly and I want to bring it up. I totally forgot about it, but there's an idea. Berkeley City Councilman has argued for there to be taxes on your email. And he's claiming that billions of dollars could be collected every year from taxing email. Now, I remember the post office years ago had a concept where they would have email and they would charge you for the email like you're being charged for mail. You know, you pay a penny or two and you send out the email. I guess it's that kind of concept here. How silly is this?
See, this is again the same thing where it's like, how do you track that? How do you enforce it? How do you? And he's saying like 1 cent per gigabyte or something like that. There should be a bit tax. So like we have to pay a penny for every gigabyte of data that we use from wherever it is. I just don't understand how they're going to add all that up, enforce it, and et cetera, you know?
I mean, you know what it would end up becoming? And obviously something like this will not happen. But if in this hypothetical world that we're living in, let's say a tax like this happened, they would charge the ISPs and the ISP would, tax you, whatever on that. It would be the ISP's job to collect, not yours to pay.
Yeah.
But
it's so stupid.
I think it's just a insane world we're living in where these politicians are going around saying, well, what else can we tax? You know what? How about browser usage? We should tax you on the browser that you use.
Well, yeah.
We should tax you on using, Twitter. Every time you send a tweet, we get a penny.
Yep.
Let's just try to do that. I just wanted to bring it up.
But of course, they never want to cut any spending.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you go into a story, John?
Let me bring up the notes then.
Because I'm waiting to talk about Ouya.
Ouya?
I'm waiting. I'm going to wait for that because I have a whole idea behind this, and I want to get your point of it.
Well, let's talk about this Facebook and Android OS or HTC handset that is rumored to be possibly coming next week. Facebook is rumored to be announcing, or they said that they're going to make some sort of mobile announcement, I think, next week. And the rumor is that it's going to be some sort of Android OS or Android phone from HTC with Facebook somehow integrated into it. And this is something that's been rumored for probably
3 years.
2 years now.
2 years, yeah. Yeah. And you know what? HTC always comes into the mix with this.
Yeah, and Facebook has actually gone on record in saying that they had absolutely no intention of bringing a Facebook phone to market. So this is very interesting because this is almost a 180 of what they said maybe a year or two ago.
Yeah, and they put out a little press release, like you said. It's going to be on April 4th. The New York Times is reporting, along with TechCrunch is reporting this, and it says, come see our new home on Android. It could mean a couple things. Who knows what that means?
Yeah, and see, Facebook is one of those companies where they like to, really mislead you with what it is that they're actually going to announce. They'll either be like very vague or something. They'll say something to the effect that it's mobile, but that's where they'll leave it at. And so everybody will run off with these rumors. Oh, it's a Facebook phone. That's what they're going to announce. And
I mean, how much more integration?
Some stupid Open Graph update.
But how much more integration could they have on your phone? It's already fully integrated in every single major phone on the market currently. There's a Facebook app. You get your Facebook updates. It pushes it through. You get to tweet the Facebook back. I mean, I can't see any more extra integration.
It could have more APIs to access other areas of your phone. And if that's the case, I mean, think about this. This is Facebook. This is a company that hasn't had the best track record when it's come to your privacy.
I mean, what I could see them doing.
Even now, they're having these new targeted ads in their news feeds, excuse me, and you really don't get a choice in turning them off. They say that they can collect whatever data from your browser that we want to target ads against you in our site.
Yeah.
If you go to some other website that has a Facebook thing on it and they say, hey, you visited this website, you visited Amazon, you were looking for shoes. So now we're going to show you ads for shoes in your news feed.
You know what this kind of...
Right, now they can do that with your Facebook phone.
Yeah. What I could see them doing...
pop-ups for crap.
No, what I could see them doing actually is having more integration in your contacts list where it ought to,
but they already have that.
They do, but I think what they're going to try to do, and I think they have it on iOS now, is the calling feature where you could call people that are on your list that are on Facebook. I think something like that, but a little bit more integrated in there. It's going to be at 1 p.m.
I think at most it's going to be more integration. I don't see them actually doing like a Facebook phone. This is something that they've said they don't necessarily care to do. I think they're all about integration, but they don't necessarily want to make the hardware. They don't want to make an operating system, but they're happy to integrate their service more into whatever it is that you're using.
Do you remember when Facebook came out? Did you ever think they would become this giant company?
I think nobody did. It almost kind of... I mean, we had MySpace, but this has completely eclipsed MySpace.
I mean, and it's so beyond what it was initially.
Yeah.
Like if you think about the infancy of this company, this is so beyond everything that it was. And I remember going on it initially when they opened it up to EDU accounts, because it was very close at first, and then they opened up to a couple EDU accounts, and I remember being on there and thinking, nobody's on this thing. And more college kids started going on it, and I was like, wow, everybody's on this thing, and now it's become this mega giant website.
I think that was one of the selling points in the beginning, is that it was exclusive to college students.
Yeah, because MySpace was so open.
Yeah, because you had all these little 14-year-old girls with, crappy profiles that just annoyed the crap out of you.
You mean like a Hello Kitty?
On one.
A Hello Kitty website?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That was mine. I'm sorry. I want to talk about Ouya a little bit, and this is going to be a beginning of a new style console war, the casual gamer console war. Ouya is available at retail stores, online, and I believe they might be in some... they're going to be in Best Buy. For $99 starting in June 4th. It's an Android-based console, pretty much, where you get the console, you get the keyboard. I'm sorry, not a keyboard, the controller. And this thing is pretty good. I've seen some demos of it. I know someone that's getting one very soon because he was an early donor on Kickstarter. And this is really going to change the console war when it comes to casual gaming in the living room.
Really?
You know why I'm saying that? As someone that has now become a casual gamer, I don't consider myself a big time gamer, but I still buy these consoles. I have a Wii U that I'm never playing. I have an Xbox that I'm never using. I have a PlayStation 3 that hasn't been turned on since Batman, the second Batman movie was out. So I buy these things like an idiot, thinking I'm going to get into video games again, and I never do.
You're too busy for that. You're too busy doing other things.
You know what, John? Yes, absolutely. I have zero time to sit there and play a video game, even if I want to. But for $99,
you don't have the attention span.
No, I really don't. And you know what, John? I'm telling you. You
cannot sit still for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think you know me really well at this point. But like, I played Mario. Like, I loved it. I beat the game in like 2 days, but I loved it because it's nostalgic for one thing, and the other thing is it's simple enough where a casual gamer like myself will pick it up and start playing. We're going to start seeing a lot of these boxes come out in the next couple months. Ouya is just the beginning of this. It's casual gaming. It's powered by Android. It's easy for developers to develop an application, submit it within, I believe, the hour or two. They'll have it in their app store, and everything is free to try, which is actually really cool too. So let's say, John, you want to start playing a game, right? Let's say you see a game that you really like. You could download it and try for free before you purchase the game. I think that's phenomenal. I think this is great, and I think this is going to open up a whole new world for gaming. Because think about it, the iPad has dominated it. Do you play any games on your iPhone? I'm just curious.
I think I'm the anti-gamer.
You are, but you don't have any games on your iPhone.
No.
Nothing.
I don't.
Not even Bejeweled.
No.
See,
not even Angry Birds.
See, I'm a big gamer on the iPad. I love these stupid little games. That's pretty much what I use it for. It's become my console. I do all my gaming on this thing, and I think something like Ouya in the living room for $100, you could justify going and buying that and just playing a couple games.
See, this is the whole argument, though. Is you almost kind of made this argument? Is that this is all about the titles that you get with the device? So are we going to see titles that everybody wants to play with? Because I think that is kind of the downfall of the Wii U, is that there's really no big titles. There's a couple, but there's not a lot.
There's not a lot. Yeah, there's no big exclusive titles. No, I think that is the bad part of the Wii U. But I think this is catering independent developers more than EA and all these big time labels. If you're an independent developer for, let's say, iOS or Android,
but I think a lot of people that are into that sort of type of gaming don't necessarily care for actually having some sort of console at their TV. They're not going to be the type to sit down at their TV and play a game.
I don't know. I'm curious about it. Are they going to sit down and play a game on their TV, or would they rather just play it on their iPad or their iPhone or Android phone?
To me, I'd rather just play it on my iPad or iPhone.
I mean,
why would I want to sit down at a TV? I have an iPhone that I take with me all the time. So wherever I am, if I have my iPhone or iPad with me, I can play that game. It's portable.
Did you see the news that Apple possibly could be coming out with a controller for iOS? I think that is brilliant for them to do. I think that's a really smart idea for them.
People have tried to do this before, and in a way, I think the problem is that you still kind of have a niche market for that, where part of it is that nobody's ever done it well enough.
Yeah.
And the other part of it is that the market for something like that just isn't that big to begin with.
I think, you know what, John? If Apple...
I'm not saying that Apple couldn't make a market for that. I mean, they certainly did that with the iPad.
I mean, out of all the companies that are making these add-on apparels for the iPad, the gaming ones, I think a lot of these controllers suck. I think there are some decent ones, but if Apple made one, it would be fully integrated, and you would have a good experience on it. Now, the other question is, do you want something that mounts onto your device, or would you want something that's a Bluetooth-enabled device and you put your device down and you play it like that? That's what it's really going to come down to. But this is the state of gaming now. This is where we are at. And
Yeah.
those days where you go and buy, a $70 title to play it, yeah, it's going to happen. They're hardcore gamers.
I
They're
think
going to
that
do
the
it.
hardcore gamers are like that, but there's a larger market of casual gamers out there than there are hardcore gamers. That's what it comes down to. There's far more people that would be more likely to pick up an iPhone and install Angry Birds and play Angry Birds than buy a $700 Xbox and then another $70 for a game that they don't necessarily care about. It's almost that disposable income thing again, where oh yeah, sure, I'll try it for $5. If I don't like it, I don't like it. It's only $5.
We'll see what I mean.
But at $70, you really got to want it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you know what? It better be good for $70.
Exactly.
You know how many times I've downloaded an iOS game for $1.99 or $2.99, and I've played it maybe once or twice?
A lot.
Oh, I can't even begin to tell you. I've spent hundreds of dollars on apps that I've never used.
I mean, that's my point right there.
Yeah, it's an impulse buy.
I said there's far more money to be made from doing something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a $2. Sure, you're not going to see as maybe huge returns as you would with a $70 game, but I mean that's just a difference in cost.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk about BlackBerry for a minute, and then we're going to our picks of the week after another story. But Mike Lazaridis.
There is one other story besides this that I do want to talk about.
So Mike Lazaridis is officially out. Lazaridis. He is officially out May 1st. He's done.
Yeah.
As vice chairman and director. So he is finished with the company after almost 30 years of being with them.
Yeah, he basically was the co-founder with Jim Balsillie.
Yeah.
So,
do you think this is a good
and
move?
Earlier, Jim Balsillie stepped down and basically, I can't remember if he's still on the board or he left the board or it's all confusing what positions people are in now because they had that whole management rearrangement. But yeah, go ahead.
Do you think this is a good move for them? I know that this is a transitional period for them. The BlackBerry, the new device is out. I haven't heard much about it other than people in enterprise really are excited for it.
I am perfectly fine with him getting out of the way of BlackBerry.
Do you think it's time for him to kind of step down?
Oh yeah, I think both him and Jim Balsillie had a big hand in holding BlackBerry back and just not adapting well because they stuck so long with that roadmap that they set out that they did not want to deviate from their plan. They said, our plan is great. And then they got kicked by iPhone and Android 5 years later, and now they couldn't change fast enough to adapt that. They didn't want to change. That was the problem, is they did not want to change from what they were doing, even though they could see that what they were doing, nobody cared about anymore as far as that market went.
Now, did they ever comment on why they stuck with the 10-year plan for so long?
No.
I mean, how did they were just I would love to hear their justification as to why they didn't adapt at a quicker rate.
A lot of it was that they said that we're for enterprise people, and also we're going to expand to other countries. So we don't really care about whether or not we actually get a whole lot of sales from our normal markets like Canada and United States and Europe.
I don't know. Big mistake on this company's behalf.
I'm just wondering whether people see this as, if they see this as good because that means that BlackBerry is doing well enough that he can leave, or it's bad because now he's gone, so there goes the rest of the BlackBerry.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two sides to look at it. There's that side where, all right, he's gone, so now BlackBerry is going to completely fail and fall apart now. Or there's the sense of, well, everything's okie dokie.
I think transition is a great thing. I think you need to sometimes, push people out in order to grow, and I think this is a good move for them. It's a new BlackBerry, new day. Why don't you go into the last story?
I really want to talk about this Walmart locker or these Walmart crowdsourcing online delivery story, because this is just mind-boggling, the fact that they want to do this. Walmart is considering the slightly insane-sounding idea of using its in-store customers to deliver online orders to help it compete with actual brick-and-mortar stores, such as Amazon. So this is what they're suggesting. They're suggesting if somebody like me, who's more prone to buying something online from Amazon, went to Walmart.com, ordered it from Walmart.com, somebody who's already at Walmart shopping could then pick up my order and drive it to me if it's on their way back to wherever they live for a discount on whatever they buy. Which, to me, is very bizarre.
It is weird.
There's no way that I would want some stranger to bring me my package.
Yeah. Why are they doing this?
Because they want to be able to compete with
Amazon.
Amazon.
I guess Amazon, because they can't ship out like they can. He sees this as a path to where this. He sees it to a path where this is crowdsourcing, adding that it's in its brainstorming stages. So the odds of something like this actually happening,
I just don't understand. I mean, really, how many people would really like to go make an order on Walmart.com and have some person deliver it to you that's already at Walmart shopping? You know the type of people that shop at Walmart. I don't want those people coming to where I live.
They're going to find you. They're going to find you.
It's just, yeah, exactly. I don't want these people to know where I live.
That's really funny.
I'm fine with UPS and FedEx dropping packages off to me because they have a bunch of other stuff to do. That's their job. But total strangers that are just going to get some sort of discount if they pick up a package for somebody and bring it to them.
But you know what's stupid?
So bizarre.
Think about this. You're going to spend money on your gas to go and deliver this package.
Well, they're saying that people that, if that's on their way home, that they can do that. That's the whole idea, is that, oh, well, this person lives close to where I live, so I'll just drop it off on my way back home for a discount.
I guess. Really weird.
Well, I mean, really, what I don't understand is what's to stop that person from just taking it and not delivering it?
They're probably gonna have you go through some sort of screening process, but I'm sure it's not gonna stop certain people from, taking it and going.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. Weird.
It's very bizarre. Like,
Really weird.
Not only would I not want a stranger to do it, but I'd be worried that stranger could actually steal whatever it is that I ordered.
Yeah. All right, John.
I mean, whose brainchild was that? It makes absolutely no sense.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
These lockers that everybody is coming out with make more sense, where, you ship it to the store, they have this locker, and you just go and pick it up. That makes way more sense than this.
But again, I don't understand the whole locker concept either, because why wouldn't you just get it shipped?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. John, time for our picks of the week. You have a pick. I have a pick. We all have a pick. And when I find this lower third, there we go. Picks of the week. Why don't you go into yours first?
I sent you a link. I don't know if you have it.
I do.
And you can pull it up for me. It's not all that interesting. And this is not for everybody. But there's a website called wpmail.me. It's actually a newsletter that has a bunch of WordPress-related articles and whatnot in it. If you're somebody like myself that deals a lot and basically does like theme development or any sort of WordPress development, and you're always on the lookout for a new theme, news on WordPress, what's happening, or a new plugin that's coming out that is really awesome, and this is a good newsletter to get because it tells you all the kind of stuff without necessarily having to go to all these different WordPress sites out there that have this information on there. I mean, there's dozens of WordPress websites out there that you can get this sort of news from, but this kind of like cherry picks some of the best stuff from all the websites that are out there and delivers it into a newsletter for you. It's really cool because you can get really good news about what's going on with WordPress, like I said. They have theme news, which is really cool. Woo Themes is now available on ThemeForest. That's pretty cool. They give you theme releases, a bunch of free themes that you can look at, and they also give you plugin news. They tell you like some new plugins that are coming out. Like there's something called Easy Watermark that automatically adds watermark to images when they're uploaded to WordPress, which is really cool. Like, if I didn't get this newsletter, I would have never known that there's a plugin that I can do this with.
Yeah.
And I can think of a number of websites where this would be completely usable on.
Hey, I know Comb will find this useful.
Yeah, and it's even got tutorials. So if you're actually looking to learn how to use WordPress or do some sort of theme development, they have that sort of stuff as well. And this is all like cherry-picked good articles. It's always fascinating. There's almost always something in these newsletters that I find really useful that I can actually use, because I do stuff for GFQ and a bunch of other WordPress-related websites. This is a very handy newsletter to get. So if you're interested, you can sign up at wpmail.me, and it's completely free.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. So my pick, John, I'm going at the opposite end of the picks of the week spectrum. And my pick of the week is the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 by AT&T. I want to thank AT&T for sending this over for me to have for a couple weeks to play around with. And I use this as my everyday phone for about 2 to 3 weeks, like I did with the Lumia 920, which I did a review for that also, courtesy of AT&T. And I want to go through just the process of using this phone over the last 2 weeks, how it was for me, what I like, what I didn't like. So, as you can see, this phone is humongous. I'm going to compare it with my other phone here. So, I have a Galaxy. Let's hit back here. Let's hit back again. There we go. So, I have a Samsung Galaxy Nexus here by Verizon. I have the Note 2 here. And as you can see, there is
How big is the Note 2? What size is the screen? Is it
5.5 inch?
5.5?
Yeah,
wow.
It's a big phone. I mean, this thing is humongous. At first, it was a little too big, and I had a lot of issues actually fitting this in my pocket and getting used to it. But after about a week of using it, I really got the hang of it. And I have to tell you, it is a really, really good phone. And I would actually recommend this as an enterprise phone. And I'll tell you why.
Really?
The battery life on this thing is phenomenal because it has a humongous battery. I'll show you guys here. When I say humongous, it is insanely big battery back here. And it's replaceable. So if you wanted a secondary battery in this thing, very easily, you could just pop it in there and have a second battery or even go with a bigger battery.
That's really good, considering that there's so many phones these days that you just can't take the back off and stick in a new battery.
Yeah. The other thing about this is that it's a quick phone, and you know I've been kind of critical about Android and saying that almost every Android phone kind of feels the same, and I'm kind of criticizing it. And I'm kind of saying that it's kind of uniformed and it's mature to the point that you're having a similar experience on everything. This does have the Samsung add-ons to it. They have a couple of things that they're adding on to it that I'm not really crazy about. Via the Samsung UI, and I got to put the cover back on. It also has a stylus for anybody that wants to write on this thing. You could use a stylus with it, and you know what? I really like it. The only issue I still have with it is that it's too big for me at times. If I'm running around with it, I'm having issues putting it in my pocket or putting it in my jacket pocket, where I don't have that with a traditional 4.5-inch phone or whatever, whatever the size is. I know that a lot of people actually like this, the fact that it's that big, but for me, it's a little too big. I can't get beyond that. But again, really well done by Samsung. I really think that it's well built. It's a beautiful phone, and if you're looking for something in between your phone and a tablet, this is a great option. So
now you're not necessarily like a big Android fan out there. I mean, there's other devices that you also like as much as the Android devices.
Yeah, listen,
Why would you say that you like this device more than other Android devices that are out on the market?
All right, so if I'm going to compare this with, let's say, the Samsung S3, for example.
Yes.
The S3 is a phenomenal phone, and it's a smaller version of this. So I kind of it's the same thing for me. The experience is almost nearly identical. The only thing is, if you want something a little larger, this is great for you to have. There are people that really want the size of the screen. They're really big on that. For them, that's a very important part. In enterprise, again, I know a lot of people that like this phone. I can't really explain it, but they do. And I guess it has to do with the fact that it's a big phone and the battery life is great, because that's the only pro that I could really think of for someone to have a large phone like this. But again, with that said, this is only my personal opinion on it. If I were to take my opinion out of this, I think it's a phenomenal phone. I think the phone works really well, and Samsung, it's well built too. So I would definitely recommend this as a pick of the week. But for me, it's a little too big. Just a little too big for an everyday phone for me. But, I don't know, John, what size do you think is the perfect size?
Yeah, I had this discussion with a friend of mine like 2 days ago, and we were talking about the iPhone. And in all honesty, I in a way, it's weird because we had this whole trend where we're trying to make all these phones so much smaller. And now we're kind of on the opposite end where we want to make things larger, because we're so content consumer driven now.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I'd like to see something around 4.5 to 4.8, maybe. I agree with you that 5-inch might be a little bit big for some people.
5.5 inch.
5.5. Yeah, that's really big. But my perfect device would be somewhere around 4.5, I think.
Yeah, I mean the Galaxy Note and the Galaxy Nexus and all the other phones are about 4.75 or 4.8 inches. The rumors are that the Nexus 5 is going to be 5 inches, which I would still be kind of okay with that. But again, this is a very good in-between.
Yes, I think
good in between.
Devices these days have to be at least 4.5 inches big.
I took this out with me a couple times, and I went to the bar and I put it on the table. Everybody came over. They go, "Oh my god, that phone is huge!" Like, oh
so
my god,
it's a lady magnet.
It's a lady magnet. Yes, it really is.
It's a good excuse for breaking the ice with ladies.
Hey,
you see how big my phone is?
Is that a phone in your pocket, or are you just excited to see me? Is that a Galaxy Note in your pocket? But again, I would recommend this for anybody that is a enthusiast, anybody that is in the enterprise world, because the battery life is phenomenal. Stand by. I didn't touch it for a couple days, and the battery was, barely draining, which is great. LTE is phenomenal on this. A lot of good. I have a lot of good stuff to say about it, and that's my pick of the week. What do you think, John?
It's awesome.
All right, thank you. I'm awesome. John, any plugs?
You can follow me on Twitter at Suncast. That's spelled Sunkast, not with the C, so everybody can find me on Twitter. I don't post a whole lot of stuff that's interesting, but if you want to follow me for whatever reason, there you go.
Yeah. And you can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zarian, at GFQ Network for the GFQ Network. And of course, if you watch the show live, you could also subscribe to us. We're on iTunes, we're on Zune, we're everywhere you can imagine. Windows Phone, Pocket Cast, everywhere. Definitely subscribe to us and support the show. And we'll see you all next week on Tech News Weekly. Good night, everybody.